Dear poor people, what is going on in the classroom?
The internet is torn.
There has to be a line drawn.
I personally didn't see anything wrong with it.
What would you do if a school teacher let your child get the rat tail comb and take out their braids at school?
It gets taken out of context.
This teacher in the DMV that says his students are his besties has millions of people talking.
They see me as a big brother or a father figure, as some of them say.
Parents in PG County are stepping into the shade room.
This is not the appropriate place or time.
Mixed reaction on what's appropriate and what's not in the classroom. And is this grounds for termination? The shade room just got an exclusive update from the school district who's clearing some things up about this teacher and his work status.
Some adults genuinely have a good heart.
I'm Justin Carter.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the beginning of this, and I will really try to keep an open mind, but I have to start by saying, no, I am not for this. I do not feel like teachers need to be involving students in their personal life. You and your grooming is your personal business, your hair. You wouldn't have students help you floss your teeth. You wouldn't have students help you shave and put the cream on. And we could even replay a scene from The Color Purple where the teacher's laid with the head back and Celie comes with the razor and is about to shave. What does the little boy say? Fixing to shave, mister. Oh, absolutely no. Fixing to undo mister's braids. This sounds ridiculous. I'm going to listen, but so far, this sounds ridiculous.
This is TSR Investigates. On TikTok, Marquise White says that he started out as a substitute teacher at the Maya Angelou French Immersion School in Hillcrest, Maryland. 4 years later, he was promoted to a full-time science teacher. Not only was it a dream job, but his students really love him too. So much so, they call each other besties. And on TikTok, you can also see the affinity that they have for one another. His students are drawn to his classroom animals. He skates through the hallways, does the TikTok trends with them. But one video in particular with about 4 or 5 of his female students brought everything to a halt and now has Mr. White defending what he does in his classroom. On May 3rd, 10 minutes before the bell rang for Friday dismissal.
Number one, for a little context, I had a hair appointment immediately after school and I needed my hair taken out beforehand. I would have taken it out the night before, but that Friday we had a camera crew coming in to shoot a promotional video and I was one of the ones being interviewed. So I had to look presentable, so I didn't take my hair out.
Teacher Marquise White says that he saw his video getting negative comments on live stream. So he made a TikTok to debunk the hate.
So naturally I asked about 4 or 5 of my over 100 best friends to assist me in taking my hair out and they all agreed. My next point I'd like to make is if I was a female teacher, those people wouldn't be in the comments saying, oh, this is weird, this is inappropriate. Because me personally, I don't think there's anything weird about this. They see me as a big brother or a father figure, as some of them say. And me, I don't want kids of my own, so all of these kids are literally my children.
6.4 million people watched and thousands chimed in. One person saying, quote, absolutely not. I'd be pissed if my daughters were doing this and I saw or heard about it. People can do whatever they want with their kids, but this wouldn't be allowed. Another person wrote, quote, at some point, we need to establish clear boundaries between adults and children. You are not their big brother. This is why kids don't respect authority anymore. They think.
So first of all, I want to say this is absolutely correct. I don't like this idea of besties. I think that's ridiculous. I think adults should make friendships with adults, and adults can be friendly towards students, and students can be friendly and polite and respectful to adults, but there cannot be a reciprocal relationship between young people and old people. And this is why this looks bad. And I don't agree with him in terms of saying, well, if he was a female teacher, nobody would think that this was a problem. Yes, we would think this is a problem. I would think this is a problem. And as the commentator said, shout out to the commentator, the TSR, that put this video out so we could see this. But no, If he were a female teacher, first of all, let me associate my comments with the haters. I'm with y'all. I'm one of the haters. This is absolutely wrong. There's nothing correct about this. And what this tells me is that this teacher absolutely has poor judgment. And skating around with the kids in school and doing TikTok challenges, okay, maybe that's okay. I don't like it. I like an idea of distance and of separation between children and adults, because children cannot maintain their place when they are allowed to believe that they're in a reciprocal relationship with adults. So already he's telling me that he doesn't have the proper boundaries. And the question becomes, if you don't have the proper boundaries on this issue, sir, then maybe you also don't have the proper boundaries on other issues. So yes, it does matter that you are a man. I am not a person that believes that men and women are the same and that everything a woman can do, a man can do, and everything a man can do, a woman can do. And we as a society should look on every single thing as absolutely equal. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. But as a teacher, you apparently don't have any boundaries. You're not showing the proper level of distance and the proper amount of exercising a proper authority. So I don't think you're a good decision maker. And I'll tell you this, you sure wouldn't be teaching my child. And I also think this is crazy. How are you going to sit here and say, I don't want children of my own, so these are my children? No, sir, those are not your children. These children have parents. You are not their parent. You are their hired help. You are their teacher. You are there to perform a specific set of duties on behalf of the parents. That's it. You've overstepped your bounds. Okay, let's keep going.
Adults are their peers. But also he got some support. Another saying, quote, "We have to remember that before anything else, we are a community and this is building trust and community with your students." And someone else saying, "Now some of your students may want to go into cosmetology," end quote. Mr. White, in fact, pointing that out in a series of posts that followed, this student even giving him a clear coat of nail polish one day. She wants to do hair and nails when she gets older.
My students and I work hard and we play harder. I'm fortunate enough to have students that feel safe and comfortable around me, safe to come to me with their problems, their frustrations. They come to me seeking guidance and wisdom, or come to me simply to chill and hang out because they know that they have a safe space to be themselves around me.
Miko McMath has a 9th grader in PG County schools.
I send my child to school to learn. And frankly, it's not to learn to braid hair or to take out hair. There has to be a line drawn, and that drawn line was broken.
She says that she doesn't think it's grounds for termination, but she would have to have a talk with her daughter and the school.
And my conversation with the teacher and or school would have been, why are we doing this now? And where was the discretion at the time that this came about?
Maisha Hagler had a different view. She had 3 children in PG County schools, one of them currently in middle school right now.
I think a lot of it was taken way out of proportion. Like it became sexualized when it didn't need to be. I've seen stories of female teachers doing female students' hairs. And that, could be a reason that the kids couldn't get their hair done at home because, they just don't have that support. You have PE teachers putting a little girl's hair in a ponytail, because their hair might have been in her face. If we're going to double down on this, take a look at everything.
Dominic Dillard agreed. She has a 9 and a 12-year-old in PG County schools. She was driving at the time of our interview, but says that Mr. White did nothing wrong.
But it was like multiple kids doing it. So you could tell, and it was like a quick thing. He was saying like it was the end of the day. He needed to get his hair taken out real fast. So, all the kids gathered together and helped him take out his hair. I didn't find anything wrong with it at all.
A tearful Mr. White turning to TikTok again over the weekend, reading messages of support from his students, past and present.
What's up, Mr. White? I know that your situation may not be looking the best, but just know that you'll get through it, and we all know your real intentions. Remember, at the end of the day, some people won't understand that some adults genuinely have a good heart.
From what I understand, he's an awesome teacher. It seems like he has great relationships with the students and the teachers. So it's quite unfortunate that it had to come to that ending.
There have been several reports suggesting that Marquise White was fired, but that's not the case. The Shade Room reached right out to PG County Schools, and the Director of Communications, Megan Thornton, wrote us saying, quote, that the staff member in question has been reassigned out of the classroom pending the outcome of an investigation. We also checked the Employee Code of Conduct Handbook, and nowhere does it say that students are not allowed to touch teacher's hair, but it does generally say that, quote, respect students' personal boundaries by maintaining proper space and demonstrate appropriate behaviors that create a safe environment for students to grow and learn. Mr. White.
I'm sorry. This is so wrong. First of all, I'm very upset at the parents who are talking about they didn't find anything wrong with this. For me, this calls their parenting into question. What do you mean you don't find anything wrong with this? This is a person who's exercised poor judgment, and particularly poor judgment in the way of respecting and creating the proper amount of boundaries. Young girls and young boys need to know that there is boundaries, that there is a distance between them and other adults other than their parents and possibly, maybe, some relatives. And the reason you need to establish that is so that when adults come and break those boundaries, when they start to do things that are not familiar, that are not the things that other adults, respectful adults do, they will then have their spidey senses flare up and realize, wait a minute, this may be an adult that does not have good intentions for me. You cannot do that when all adults are acting like they're kids. That's number one. And that other parent who was saying that she understands that he's a great teacher, maybe he is. Let's see the scores. Having great relationships with students is not, to me, what tells me that you're a great teacher. That could be part of it, yes, but that's not what tells me you're a great teacher. If your kids are learning, if your kids are above the median, if your kids are on grade level and above, those are the types of outcomes that can say who and who is not a good teacher. But just because you rollerblade around the hallway and do TikTok dances and challenges doesn't make you a great teacher. You have a safe space. Yes, you have a safe space for these kids because you're one of them. You're just a tall child from what we can see. And God, all of that crying, he doesn't seem like he's emotionally fortified in any way. Mr. Smith, sir, what is going on with you that you are handling this situation and crying on the internet? Again, some things, and I can understand that you would be upset by this. I can even believe that your intentions were honest and were forthright. I'm not saying any of that isn't so. I'm saying you're foolish, and you are too foolish to be around people's children.
Argues that his classroom is a safe space for all of his students. We have been communicating with him on and off to see what his status is with the school district. He did post on his Instagram story, quote, that I appreciate all of the continued support. All this is a lot, but I am okay. You can't keep a good man down forever. I'll be off mute soon enough. Of course, the Shade Room will be keeping up with this one.
Okay, Shade Room, I can understand this, and I'm glad you're keeping up with it. I want to know his status. If there's any way to vote, I want to vote for fired. I don't want this man around my children. I don't think he's good for other people's children for exactly the reason I said. When you begin to create a reciprocal relationship between adults and children, what that does is it makes children not understand when other adults who have bad intentions, and I'm not saying this Mr. Smith does, but other adults who have bad intentions, they won't be able to recognize it. That's why you keep appropriate space. That's why you keep distance. And that's why you maintain authority. And being friendly and having your children and being approachable so that they can approach you and creating a space where they feel like they can tell you what it is they need to say is wonderful. Those are all things that you can do. And guess what? Good teachers are able to do exactly those things without having children help them groom themselves. So no, sir. Goodbye. You can't keep a good boy down. You can't apparently keep a good man down. I personally think he's a man child and should be doing something else. Maybe he can go into cosmetology. How about that? Please remember to like, share, subscribe. Thanks for visiting my channel. I hope to see you again the next time I drop a video. Bye-bye.